Right, family? What is going on? Happy Sunday, everyone. I'm super excited for tonight's vision call. I'm super excited for our guest speaker that we have on tonight's vision call. I know that he so graciously really planned out tonight's call, so I'm really excited for everything that he's going to talk about. But before we do, I just want to mention, for those of you who this is your very first time on our vision call, welcome to our wealth family. Yes, you are family. Sometimes, you love family, and sometimes you're like, oh, I can't stand you, but I know that we're going to the top together, right? Sometimes, let's be honest, family, gets on your nerves, but you love them anyway. And that's the one thing I love about our wealth family, is that no matter what's going on in our lives, that we can reconnect here on Sundays and start our week together, renew our minds, renew our hearts, renew our commitment. Hello, somebody. For some of y'all, you're like, amen, preach, girl. I need to renew my commitment right now, right? For your goals, for all the things that you say that you want in your life. That's what this call is for. Is for you to go into your week with clarity. So I offer up that you do not miss these calls every single Sunday, same link, same time, different faces, right? Because it's important that you hear different perspectives on success, on mindset, on all of the things that you're going to need to take you and your business to the next level, right? So this is for us to get our minds clear, to set clear intention. And that's one thing I want to share with you before I pass this over to our guest speaker. I want everyone here, before the night is over, feel free to write it down right now. Feel free to type it in the chat box. What is your intention going into this week? What is your intention going into this month? Tomorrow is November 1st. First off, I love November. I love the fall. I always call November a November to remember. November has always been an amazing month for my business. It has always been just the end of the year. I find myself in so much momentum, especially these past few years. So I offer up that you take that perspective and you go into November with the mindset of, November is going to be a November to remember. This November, everything is going to change. This November, I'm going to elevate in my business. This November, I'm going to have breakthroughs in my mindset. I'm going to have breakthroughs in my relationships. I'm going to have breakthroughs in my relationship with money. Hello, somebody. I know for a lot of y'all, you need to catch that spirit, but you're going to go ahead and you're going to have these breakthroughs. So I want you to go ahead and set an intention for this month. I want you to set an intention in specific for week 1. Tomorrow is the first day of the second to last day of 2021. Second to last month of 2021. Not to be dramatic, but the year is about to be over. What are you going to do over these next 60 days to really catapult you into 2022, right? So that is my Tia talk of the day. Very, very short snippet, because I'm going to go ahead and introduce our guest speaker. So let me go ahead and do that without further ado. Now, this individual has spoken on our vision calls before. He is a great friend of mine. He is like family. And like I mentioned with family, sometimes you love them and sometimes you just want to smack them upside the head, but at the end of the day, he is my brother for life. But that's what family is. Let's be honest. Listen, that's why I love my friends. I don't have yes people in my life. I love that my friends, including the person I'm about to bring up, they will tell me about myself at any time of the day. Okay. But I think that we all need those people in our lives, the people that care enough to be honest with what we need to do with their perspective to help us get to where we need to get to. And I know that that's exactly what he's going to do on tonight's call. He is also a fellow entertainer. We met through the dance industry. Fun fact, when we first met, this is almost 10 years ago, he didn't even like me. Now he just can't get rid of me, right? We're literally family. We met in the dance space. He's a dancer. He's a singer. He's a model. He does a lot of things. He's a day trader, an entrepreneur. But I really love his servant heart for leadership. He is someone who has been alongside me in this journey of business and entrepreneurship since I was 22 years old. You want to talk about loyalty? You want to talk about growing in business alongside someone who sees the vision? It is this person, right? So I'm really, really excited to bring up my brother, my friend, my business partner, Mr. Peps Javier. I'm going to go ahead and pass the floor over to you. Please bless us. And thank you so much for gracing us with this training on tonight's vision call. The floor is all yours. Everybody give it up for him in the chat box. Let's go.
Wow, Tia, I love you. Like I say it every single day to you publicly. I absolutely love you. I adore you. Um, Before we get into the call, first and foremost, give it up to Tia. Honestly, talking about service and leadership, that is everything that you embody, who you are as a person, as an entrepreneur, in entertainment, in choreography. Like that is the epitome of who you are, being of service and being an amazing, tremendous, beautiful, inspiring leader. But I want to go ahead and get started. I'm super excited. This call is going to be very, very special. It's been on my mind for a few weeks. The minute that Tia told me I was doing this call, I instantly heard a word. Literally, it was one word, and it was literally service. That is the first thing I heard when Tia was like, "Can you do the call on October 31st?" And I was like, "Service." And then I was like, "Yes, I can do it." So before I get started, I like to start off these calls with literally clearing the space, clearing the air, clearing our mindset. So what I do ask, if you're able to, please close your eyes, release everything from your hands, from your laps. Close your eyes, take a deep breath in and exhale. Take a slower, deep breath in and exhale. Take a slower, deeper breath in and exhale. And just keep that same rhythm of pace, that same slow down rhythm of pace of breathing. I want you guys to get into the right posture, the right mindset, the right heart space of receiving what you need to receive. Receiving information, maybe it's inspiration, maybe it's strategy, maybe it's one word that you need to receive. Don't worry about this past week, it's over. Don't worry about tomorrow, it is not here yet. Just get into the right rhythm, the right space, the right mindset. And when I get to one, not yet, when I get to one, open your eyes and bring yourselves back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So I'm excited for this call. I'm super excited. I have some very special people on this call, which is every single person on here. And I wanted to start off with this quote, and I can't even pronounce his last name, so I'm gonna just call him John B. And John B says, "You have not lived today until you have done something for someone who can never repay you. You have not lived until you did something for somebody else that could never pay you back." That's such a powerful quote. It's such a powerful way of literally living each and every single day. And even though we market these calls as like the blueprints to like grow your business in your trading account and get in the right mindset, you may think like, what does this have to do with strategy or information or maybe elevation? But I promise you this, that I was looking back on my life this past year, and if I were to put everything on paper, literally everything on paper, nothing would make sense. From the jobs that I've booked, the things I've been auditioning for, the way I've been able to grow my coaching practice, my trading account, the way I've been able to like heal internally and help other people heal, it wouldn't make any sense on paper. Because logistically, even though I do work hard, it's almost like everything started off at ground zero and it blew up to the moon. And even though I'm not where I want to be, I've had the most success in my personal life this year, in my entertainment career, in my relationships. And it's literally because of this one concept. And that is being in service. Literally being in service. I was reflecting when I was getting ready for this call, and this is the year where I've achieved so many great things, but this is also the year in which I decided consciously that I was gonna help out as many people as possible. in everything and in anything that I do. As an artist, I'm like, how can I show up on set to contribute and do my job as a dancer, as an actor, as a model, or as a singer, where I am literally helping other people get what they want. Not take advantage of me, but my goal was to let me be of great service in this platform. Within our investment family, there's a lot of people who are not on my team that I'm like, let me help you. Allow me to give to you so I can help you. Not because I have anything to gain, because I don't. Technically, I don't. But I was like, let me just get into the place where I can literally help out as many people as possible. And the reason why I decided to do this, the reason why is for one very conscious reason, but there's a few other ones. And before I give you my reason why, I actually want to make this like audience participation. I want to hear from you guys, like, why should we serve? Why should people like Tia, who's a Chairman 25, with so many people on her team, serve to us day in and day out? Why is somebody like my good friend, Millie Mills, who is actually on this call, help out somebody who she didn't know last year, which was me, win in trading? So drop it in the chat. Why should you serve? Why should anybody serve? Why should anybody be in a position where it's like, well, let me just help somebody else out? So let me see what we have so far. It says, when I serve, I learn more about myself and how to help others in a better way. Service to many leads to greatness. To bring value and help people become their better or higher self. It helps you grow personally. It helps one feel good. And honestly, my main initial reason why I decided to serve is literally because I saw other people who are successful, way more than me, be so serving. I was literally talking to Tia before this call, and I'm like, I don't know anybody in this platform, in this academy, in life who is tremendously successful that has a problem with helping out. I don't know one single successful person on a personal level who actually feels like they shouldn't help out. I don't know one person. If anything, I feel like the more that they help, the more successful they become. The more that they gave and that they did and that they showed up for other people, the more successful they became. And I don't even want to focus on just successful in the external sense, because there is more to success than what is going on around you. But I do want to focus on this for a quick second. Your level of success will not exceed your level of service. Your level of success is going to meet your level of service. And when I say success, we can talk about the money, we can talk about the career, the relationship, the cars, the houses, the millions of followers on social media. We can talk about all of those things, but that is not all that success is. You see, the thing is, those are great benchmarks. Those are great reflectors or mirrors as to why you're successful. But I personally believe that success is loving what you do, how you do what you do, and who you are, while positively impacting the lives of those around you. And I'm going to break this down for a quick second. Success is loving what you do and how you do what you do. There's a lot of people that do things that they say that they love, but they don't like how they do things because they're out of integrity. There's a lot of people who have, you know, the money and the cars and all these great, shiny, glittering bank accounts with nice cars, nice clothes, and deep inside, they don't feel fulfilled. And that is not success. There's people who have their relationships, but they don't have an outlet or a vehicle to impact the lives around them. In my opinion, success, true success, is holistic. It encompasses everything. And personally, this is my personal belief, that you will only be truly, truly successful when you allow yourself to be of service and be in service. And we hear this all the time: be a servant leader. If you help enough people to get what they want, you will get what you want. But there's a few things about service that maybe people don't even are aware that is required. There's a few things about service that if you miss it, you may not even have the success despite you doing the right thing, despite you showing up. Because there's a few things in relation to service that you need to actually, properly, honestly, and truly be a person of service. And I'm going to go through all of these, but there's two that I'm going to focus on in more detail. But the first one that I want to talk about is willingness. Willingness. You know, when I hear the word willingness, when I think of the word willingness, I think of the word proactive. I think of being ready and open and prepared to give service, whatever that service may mean. I think of being of service as a person who doesn't even have to be asked for help to help somebody. I'm not saying that you should wait to receive the help. If you need the help, ask. But what I am saying is a lot of times the person that is truly in service helps without being asked. It's like the schedules that we see posted on Telegram every Sunday. Like nobody asked here for a schedule. Nobody asked to do these sessions. And we learned that the best way to help people win is to literally give them extra Zoom calls at no cost for free, because we literally want to see everybody win. Willingness, being able to give forth. You know, I'm going to use Millie as an example because she's on this call, but I remember when I was struggling with trading, when I was having like issues, Millie was like, try this, do this, da 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 da. And I didn't even have to ask her. And I truly and honestly and humbly believe that one of the reasons why Millie is one of the top educators, first of all, shout out to Millie who is on this call, but shout out to Millie for being such a great educator. Drop a 111 if you've been on a Millie session, or if you've learned from Millie indirectly or directly, because she is truly a person that is so humble and ready to serve. But she has been so willing to help me grow. She has been so willing to help me grow as a trader and as a person. And sometimes being a person who is of service will literally tell you straight up what it is. I did a call with her in February, and then I called her to thank her. She was like, can I give you some feedback? And I was like, oh my God, yes. And she literally gave me such powerful feedback that at first I was like, damn, that's how I'm showing up. But I'm so glad that she is literally a person who is so willing and down to help somebody grow without even being asked to help. Willingness. And then on that point, courage. It takes courage to be a person of service. It takes courage to help people go through their darkest moments. It takes courage to be a Go Live educator or somebody doing an op call and literally offer to people a solution to a financial issue, a life issue, a mindset issue. It takes courage to be the person that is literally in a position to be of service. As a coach, I was looking back at my notes from my clients, and I'm like, the things that I've had to help people deal with, from depression, anxiety, some of which have been really potentially life-altering issues. It takes courage to be the person that is literally willing to walk through the fire with that person. And you know when somebody is of service and when somebody is not of service. It's like, you know what, I'm gonna just pray for you from over here. I hope that it works out for you. If you are truly a person of service and you want to grow and have actual true success, you will take that issue head on, even if it scares you, and walk somebody through to the best of your ability. Compassion. Compassion, compassion, compassion. The easiest way for me to summarize compassion is the opposite of judgment. I can't even imagine what my life would be if my mentors would judge me where I was at. If my mentors were trying to help me, but secretly they were judging me from my current level of operation. When you're in service, you have to display no judgment. Because the thing is, we can judge actions, but not the person. And if you want to be in true service, you have to display a level of compassion that makes it about them and not about you, because when you make it about you, you lose. But if you make it about them and somebody else, and if you make it about the purpose and the permission that you are given to help somebody else out, then you all win. If I make this call about me and try to focus on about what I want to focus on and try to see, I'm like, well, people don't do this, people don't do that, then I miss it. And I'm no longer in service. But as I was preparing for this call, I was literally asking, I'm like, what can I say? What can I do that can maybe help somebody else out, literally get through this day, get through this week, maybe through the rest of the year? And I thought about service, and then I thought about compassion. And compassion is at the core in being a service. And like I said, compassion is the opposite of judgment. Now, these last two, intention and humility. Intention and humility. You know, willingness, encouraging, compassion, requirements that we need for sure. But intention and humility can either make or break the effectiveness of being in service. You see, if you do the right thing, but for the wrong reason, it's going to affect the quality of the outcome. If you do the right thing, but with the intention for you to gain and not truly be of service, it's going to affect the quality of the outcome. If you do the right thing and you're giving, but secretly you're giving because you want to receive, it's going to affect how you're giving and what you're giving, and it's going to affect the recipient. I can't remember where it's from, but there's this story where this person was in church and they had a $20 bill and a $100 bill. And the person thought he donated $20. Gets home and he was like, oh my God, where's my 100? And why do I have this 20? And his wife was like, no, you gave the 100 at church. And he was like, oh my God, that's amazing, because I'm going to get, that level of giving. And then she was like, no, you're not. She was like, you gave with the intention of only giving $20. So you're only going to receive $20 worth back, not 100. Because his intention was, I'm only going to give 20. I'm going to save the 100 for me. So if you do the right thing for the wrong reasons, it's going to affect the quality of the outcome. When you give, when you are in service with the wrong intention, not only will they suffer, but you will suffer. One of the most clear examples that we can think about is when we do these opportunity calls. When we do these opportunity calls, is the right thing is sharing this platform, because we know that this platform, or if you don't know, stick around, but usually we know that this platform, investing residual income, can literally change and save somebody's life. But if your intention is to let me share this to get a check from this person, that person who is listening to this call usually knows that. So even though you may be doing the right thing, because your intention is wrong, you may not get the result that you want. Same thing with trading. If you trade because you're greedy, which we hear all the time, don't trade out of greed, you're probably gonna blow your account at some point. Intention. And I wanna give you guys some questions to think about how to check your intention. You see, when I was preparing for this call, I was like, well, what should I say? I'm like, should I say this? And I was like, oh my God, this is in my boot camp that I charge for. And the minute that I thought about charging for it, I was like, put it in there, because if I left it out because I wasn't gonna get paid for it, then I was no longer being in service. Because if I made this about me, I'm sacrificing the good. So the first question that you should ask yourself when you are doing something is, am I doing this for me, or am I doing this for good? Am I doing this for attention, or am I doing this to help or to inspire, or whatever you want to fill that blank in with? Am I doing this to add value or to gain validation. Am I doing this because I want to be seen and because I want to be heard? Or am I doing this because I actually want to impart and give and maybe help somebody? What do I hope to gain out of this? What is my ideal preferred outcome from doing what it is that I'm about to do? Out of the potential internal and outward focused result, which one am I most focused on? Am I more inward focused or outward focused? I'm not saying you can't do something for your benefit, but what I am saying is if your focus is primarily you, that focus, that reason, that why is not going to be enough to have the success and the lifestyle that you want. And a lot of times we may not be getting what we want because our intention is wrong. So whenever the next thing that you do for somebody, truly ask yourself, am I doing this to actually help, or am I doing this for me? And if I am doing it, am I doing it because I feel like I should, or am I doing this because I genuinely want to help? And that's a big one, which is not on my screen. Sometimes we do things because we feel that we should. Honestly, being a person that can literally help somebody else out is a beautiful position to be in. It's probably the best position to be in. Being in a place where you can literally help somebody out, whether big or small, is probably one of the best positions to be in. I remember talking to Tia one day and she was like asking me about something that she heard me say. And she was like, what was your heart space in it? And she was like, I just want to make sure that you're operating from the right heart space. And I was like, honestly, girl, I was like, if it wasn't the right heart space, I wouldn't be doing it. Because I am no longer in a place where I want to do things for me or strictly just for me. When I started dancing and pursuing acting and singing and music and modeling and public speaking, I did it because it made me feel good. I did it because I'm like, this is fun. I get to do this. I get to be this person. I get to literally work with my friends. I get to do things that make me feel good. But after a while, and I'm sure you can ask Tia, you can ask Millie, you can ask somebody who you look up to, after a while, that me intention gets old quick. And it's not enough to keep you going forward. Every day I'm literally sitting at home. I'm like, how can I grow so I can help out more people? My intention now and everything that I do, and sometimes ego gets in the way, which I'll get into later, is literally to try and be in as much service as possible. As much service as possible. And that's why when I said earlier, I'm looking back on my year and I'm like, if I were to try to figure out how everything came about, I would probably go crazy. But I truly feel that my accomplishments this year, internal and external, are literally what they are because this is the year in which I've been most in service. And then that brings me to my next point about intention and in being in service is humility. And there's so many things about this one word, or the other word is humble, that I feel we may have a big misunderstanding of. And I want to make sure that this call is productive, but I want to make sure that you guys are really getting this. But I want to hear from you guys first and foremost, what do you think is an actual definition of humility? It doesn't have to be, grammatically correct, doesn't have to be too long, but drop it in the chat what you feel is the definition of humility. Kelly Cal says grounded. Okay. Let's see. I want to make sure that we're getting this together, family. So who else has an idea of what humility is? I'm not going to say there's no right or wrong, but just don't be shy. Anna said no ego. I love that. Mel said humble. And in my opinion, there's a lot of traits about humility that are preached and that are advocated, but they're really misunderstood. And I want to clarify a few misconceptions before I get into what humility is, at least to me. The first misconception is that people who are humble are martyrs. It's like they always come last. They have to literally sacrifice everything about themselves for somebody else to win. We can all win together, right? Millie said meek. And I'm glad that she said that, because I want to get into the word meek, which is tied to this definition that I found: a modest or low view of one's own importance. You know, I found this definition online and I was like, I'm not really crazy about that definition. A modest or low view of one's own importance. You see, I believe that humility is knowing your positioning at any given place. And your positioning has less to do with a title, but more about what you're doing in that season, in that scenario, in that environment. But not once should your self-importance feel low. Every single person on this call is important. Every single person on this call should also feel important. Every single person on this call should have a high regard for their self-image. Every single person on this call should understand that, yes, I am important, but so is my brother or my sister next to me. A big misconception about humility is that you have to be somebody who is less than somebody else. No. Humility, I'm gonna get into what humility is later. Humility is not downplaying yourself. Which brings me to the third and fourth points. Unable or not allowed to express confidence in themselves or in something that they do. Or confusing confidence with arrogance. Could you imagine if this was a definition of humility that our educator lives by? I'm like, I don't know if I want to take these trades, because if you're not confident in your abilities, why would I take this trade? Could you imagine if the person that introduced you to this opportunity, and therefore this platform, then therefore this team, and then therefore these mindset calls, if they were not confident in this, you may never get your breakthrough. So a lot of times there's this big misconception that humility means that you cannot be confident, that you have to put yourself last, that you have to put yourself low, that you cannot be confident because that means you're arrogant. In my opinion, is that true humility is an honest confidence in your ability, in yourself, that allows you to be courageous, flexible, clear, compassionate. You operate in purpose without ego. True humility, to me, is you know that you are good at what you do, and you also know that maybe you have room to grow, or you're in a situation where you know that you don't know enough and that you are okay with following. Doesn't make you less confident, doesn't make you less successful. It just means that you are in a season, in a room, in a position where you have to follow, and that requires you to be humble. And that requires you to know that just because I'm not leading in this place, in this room, in this scenario, that I am not successful. That is not what that means. True humility allows you to be flexible. Doesn't negate your accomplishments, doesn't negate your ability to impact other people, doesn't negate that you may have room or an area in your life to grow in that maybe you're not doing too well in. Doesn't negate not one of those things. Humility, in my opinion, allows you to know that, yes, I am good at this. Yes, I am an important person. Yes, I have these great, track records of success in my life, and I can still grow. I can still be led. I can still help. I can still give. I can still show up a year and a half later, 2 years later, and be on these calls. And then maybe on year 3, I'll have the opportunity to finally teach and lead my own calls, because I was humble enough to know and humble enough to be in a position that allowed me to follow. And I want to focus on the word ego for a second. I want to focus on this word ego for a second, because when it comes to ego, there is so much about ego that people may not be even aware of. Because the thing about ego is it is so conniving and subtle, and it's like a chameleon. It takes different forms, different shapes, and some days you're like, yes, I checked my ego. And then you look at your relationships and you're like, actually, my relationship isn't doing too well. I'm not doing too well internally. Or you check your bank accounts and it's not doing that amazing, because your ego is driving your actions and your behavior. Your ego is preventing you from actually allowing yourself to be led. Your ego may be preventing you from helping somebody else out, and that could maybe be the key to your breakthrough. In my most recent bootcamp that I did, I challenged my mentees. I'm like, do a random act of service this weekend. And somebody literally volunteered to DJ at a church event. And literally at that event, there was somebody there who connected him to one of his most well-paying DJ gigs of his career. And he would have not achieved or received that gift if he had an ego that prevented him from doing something for free. No gain. Church couldn't repay him. He showed up, did what he did, and he was rewarded with a gig that paid him immensely. And ego comes from the Greek, and it means I, me. It's like I said before, when I make it about me, I lose. Because when I make it about me, I close myself off from the world. When I make it about me, I focus on my problems, on my issues, on my insecurities. When I make it about me, I focus on the things that I do not have. When I focus on me, on I, and that is my main primary focus, I tap into the victim's mindset. And the victim's mindset is very me based. It's very like, woe is me. This happened to me. I don't have this, so I can't do that. A lot of times, this me mentality, this me mindset prevents you from actually thinking outside the box and finding solutions, because when you're so focused on you, you literally can only see yourself. When you focus from I or from the me, it actually inhibits your work ethic and your potential. Think about it. Whenever you're having a bad day and you just focus on the feelings of the bad day, I'm not saying ignore your feelings, but when you focus on the feelings and you're like, oh my God, this happened to me. I feel like this, da 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 da, me this, me that. I can't believe this happened to me again. Hours go by and you're still repeating the monologue. I've been there. And you're like, I haven't done anything to improve my situation. I haven't done anything to get out of my emotions, to get out of my circumstances. And I've spent hours, days just focusing on me. And I'm not saying for somebody on here who may be struggling with, some mental or emotional issues, but what I am saying, when you allow yourself to make you the focus habitually and consistently, you are literally going to delay your dreams. Additionally, not only just that, when you focus on me, you cannot give, and because you cannot give, you also cannot receive. So if you focus and operate from ego, you allow yourself to literally limit yourself to yourself, by yourself, for yourself. And you are an ego when your method of operation and way of being inhibits your ability to grow and positively affect change in others. That is my definition of ego. Like I said earlier, when I was like, I don't even know if I want to talk about ego, because I'm like, this is something that I charge for. And I'm like, who even cares? Honestly, I was like, the minute that I thought about that, I'm like, you know what, put it in there. Because if I made it about me and me getting paid, I may not give information that could maybe help somebody have their breakthrough. I may not give somebody a strategy or even a word or even a concept, or maybe even just my energy to help somebody feel better if I make it about me. And the reason why I defined ego like this is because ego, honestly, ego is so conniving. Ego has different ways of being. And I'm going to share with you guys some ways in which ego shows up. But I want you guys to think about this. You know, for you to get out of ego, you have to ask yourself first and foremost if you have what you want. If you don't have the money or the relationship, ask yourself this question. Do I want to be right or do I want to be rich? Not rich in finances, rich meaning, do I want to have what I want? Or do you want to be right about it? Because if you want to be right, you're probably giving up what you want. So you're going to be right about how you feel and how you're acting. And therefore, maybe what you are doing, you're going to keep doing it, even though it may not be serving you. So ask yourself, do I want to be right or do I want to be rich? Secondly, which is a continuation of the first question, ask yourself if you are happy with how the nature of your life is. And that is a yes or no question. To me, if somebody asks me if I'm happy and I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm happy here, but no, honestly, if you're not happy, you're not happy. To me, if it's not a hell yes, 9 times out of 10 it's a no. And a lot of times what prevents us from having the life in which we're happy and fulfilled and passionate about is literally ego. Then ask if you're operating for your own self-gratification or to affect change. That has a lot to do with happiness. A lot of times people do things because they feel like it is the right thing to do. They feel that, they feel that if they do this, they will get it back times 10. But if you are truly in service, if you are truly in a position where you really want to help and you truly want to give, the question of whether or not you should give to somebody isn't even a question. You may have to figure out what is the best way of giving, how maybe logistically you can show up and give. But if you are truly a person of service, being presented with the ability to serve others isn't a question. The only question that I had about me doing this call, I'm like, well, it's Halloween. I'm like, should we do it or should we do it like on a Monday? I'm like, I'm down to do the call, but I'm like, my only question is logistically, like, is Halloween a good day? And me and Tia were like, honestly, the right people are going to show up for the right call. And I was like, all right, I'm down. But my question wasn't like, should I even do the call? My question was like, well, when should I do the call? Because of this holiday. You see what I mean? Like, my question isn't no longer like, should I help? It's more like, how can I help? How should I help? Fourth, develop a proper belief system. Develop a proper belief system. Going back to the me mentality. The mentality when it's all about me in my head is scarcity. Oh, I can't donate because I don't have enough money. I can't do this because I don't have enough time. I can show up because nobody shows up for me. Scarcity, honestly. But if you develop a belief system, a proper belief system, where you realize that we are in this world together, that we are in the Zoom together, that we are a part of this community together, that even though I may be the person on this call and maybe your friend couldn't make this call, maybe you can just say like, you know what, they didn't make the call. Let me just call them and make sure that they got the word. Because what am I gonna lose in taking 10, 20 minutes out of my time to give somebody an encouraging word, a strategy that could maybe help them out? Lastly, serve. Serve. And actually, before I get into service, I wasn't planning on doing this, but I'm gonna do it for a quick second because I really feel that it is very, very important. So I'm gonna go ahead and share a different screen. Bear with me. One second, y'all. I wasn't planning on doing this. Because I think it is very important that we understand more about ego. There we go. You see, and I thought I had put it in the slide, so maybe I deleted it, but there's a lot of different forms of ego. There's an ego that knows it all. The person that's like, oh, I know how to do this. I know how to be here. I don't have to attend this call because I've heard this information before. There's a judgmental ego, the person that's like, oh, you really shouldn't be doing that. And then they try to help you. And then while they're helping you, you're like, wow, I just kind of feel horrible. There's a self-righteous ego. They do things for their own benefit. And that is their main focus. The ego that is for them to benefit from something. There's the shy ego. The person that's like, oh, I can't speak up because I'm shy. I can't show up to the world because I don't know how people are going to receive me. There's the excuses ego. The person that's like, oh, I couldn't do this because of this. I couldn't do that because of that. I couldn't show up because this happened. There's so many different ways of having ego. And that's why I said my definition of ego is literally preventing the world from experiencing the fullness of who you are, so you can hopefully and positively impact the world. And you want to ask yourself is, what is my version of ego? What is my version of ego? One of the versions of ego that I used to battle with was literally the excuses ego, and also the judgmental ego. Until my life completely fell apart years ago. And I'm like, wow, it could literally happen to anybody. And I'm so thankful for my journey because now I can operate from a place in which I literally try to help people without judging them at all. But if you operate from ego, you are literally preventing the world from seeing the fullness of who you are. Now, I want to start closing this call out and go back over here. Service, which is the purpose of this call. Service is one of the most important things because no man can get rich himself until he enriches others. No man can get rich until he enriches others, meaning that service is the key to success. And if you want to talk financial success, money is a byproduct of success. And your level of success is going to be determined by your level of service. And on my screen, I have 5 ways of how you can be in service. They're a little bit more abstract, but you can think about how you can translate these into your lives. Number 1 is give without the prospect of gain. Give without the prospect of getting something back in return. Give from a place of let me give to whoever, whenever, wherever, without me thinking I'm going to get it back. Secondly, loving without conditions. It's like, you ever have those relationships with those people that you're like, oh my God, it's like we have to negotiate everything for proper attention over here. A person who is in true service literally has no problem loving people where they're at. Thirdly, showing up at your best no matter what. Showing up at your best no matter what. Meaning when you decide to help out or decide to maybe even forgive somebody, which is a form of service, when you decide to maybe teach your own tweeting sessions, that you decide to show up at your best possible self in that moment. Fourthly, being in integrity. If you know that you can't check your ego, maybe, just maybe, you admit where you're at and let the person know, like, I really want to help you out, but for whatever reason, I'm doing this with the wrong intention. Now, that's a conversation I would rather have than me being helped by somebody who has an ulterior motive. Marry the purpose, not the plan. Meaning, I believe our purpose here is to literally be a person of service. And that may change your life from what you do day in and day out to maybe even long term. Marry the purpose, which I believe is to be of service, and not what your plan is for how you do what you do. Because the thing about plans is our plans are estimates to the best of our ability to do something. That's why a lot of times we'll have a goal and we'll set this plan and you're like, well, that plan didn't work. That was our best estimate with the information that we knew. But if you marry the idea of being in service, your plan may change, but your success will almost always be guaranteed. Now, second to last slide, the benefits in being of service. You are a person of integrity. When you are truly a person in service, you align the purpose of helping others with the goal of helping them grow, and that also aligns your success with their growth. And it doesn't cost you or delay you. Happiness. Whenever I struggle with something, whenever I'm having a bad day, whenever I feel like I'm stuck or I'm in a rut, I'm like, well, let me see if I can help somebody else out. Let me see if I can give something of myself that maybe, just maybe, I may not be feeling like it at the moment, but 9 times out of 10, every time I've helped somebody, I've never felt sad or depressed. If anything, I felt better. Thirdly, being a person of service actually makes you more confident. Being a person that helps actually improves your belief level about yourself. Fourthly, it reveals purpose. When I knew that I wanted to be an entertainer and that I should be an entertainer, when people would tell me, they would see me perform and they would feel better. And I'm like, really? And I knew I wanted to do coaching and public speaking when people would come to me and say, hey, that talk actually resonated with me like days later and weeks later. And a lot of it just came from me just wanting to help people out, feel better, honestly. And the more I was in service in the areas or in the vehicles in which I have chosen, from entertainment to coaching, the more I realized that my purpose is in those vehicles. So a lot of times when you serve, you'll find the things that you're good at and the things that allow you to help people, right? Lastly, success. As I mentioned earlier, success is directly related to your level of service. Your success will always be measured by the quality and quantity of service you render. That is from Earl Nightingale's The Strangest Secret. The more you serve, whether you realize it or not, is going to add to your success. And I don't want you to focus on the potential outcome of being successful, but I am saying it'll be a natural organic byproduct of service is for you to be more successful. And what I actually want to challenge you guys and end this call with is to commit to doing one random act of kindness this week for somebody, for something that may not be able to pay you back. That could be maybe you volunteer your time. Maybe you give or make a donation. Maybe you decide to offer a service of yours for free. Maybe you decide to call up your mom or your dad and literally just have a conversation with them and just literally being a listening ear and being present and giving them love. Service. Maybe it's you actually releasing your music or your artwork or your entertainment or whatever it is that you do for people to enjoy. Service. Maybe it's you offering a free extra trading session for your team because you want to help them see them win. Service. I want to challenge everybody on this call to do one random act of kindness that would allow somebody else to gain something that they could never maybe repay you back. I'm so thankful for people like Millie, who literally shared with me so many great tips and strategies last year. And Millie is not on my upline. Like, Millie didn't know me from a hole in the wall. She literally just helped me last year because she wanted to help. Or I'll never forget, there was one time years ago, I was telling Tia, I'm like, I cannot wait to pay you back. She was like, don't, pay it forward. Because if I were to think of everything that Tia has done for me, I'm like, oh my God, that's years of paying back. I don't know if that's possible. It's not possible. What is possible is me paying it forward. Service. Family, that is everything that I wanted to go through. I first and foremost am so thankful for you all. Again, my challenge for this week for you guys is to try to give some random act of kindness to somebody, something, someone, a group that may never be able to pay you back. If you guys need anything from me, anything at all, please hit me up, message me. I am so down to help you all out. Thank you for helping in. Thank you, Millie, for tuning in. Thank you, everybody. I wish you all an amazing, safe, abundant week ahead. A beautiful Sunday. If you're celebrating Halloween, be safe. Don't get too lit, but enjoy the night, enjoy the evening, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye, guys.